Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Dragonhill Games, and you're watching This Week in MTG Finance. As always, and before we get started, I want to thank MTG Stocks for allowing us to use graphical information for the purposes of this video. There has been a ton of movement in the market this week on the upside, and most of it has to do with Commander Legends. So let's dive right into our top 10 list, and we're going to start right here with Stitch in Time from Guildpact. Flip a Coin is back on the table in Commander, folks. That's right, because of a new Commander spoiler, Quirk the Thumbless, and we finally know who's missing his thumb. Now, he allows you to, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you can flip a coin. If you lose the flip, you return that instant or sorcery to your hand. If you win the flip, copy that instant or sorcery. And he has partner. Now, he's a mono red commander, but since he has partner, you can partner him up with basically any other commander that has partner. And if you happen to pick someone with blue color in their identity, then Stitch in Time seems like an auto include in that deck. For just 3 mana, we flip a coin. If we win the flip, we take an extra turn after this one. Stitch in Time is up 90% this week to $4.40. Coming in at number 9 this week and up 121%, we have Cobalt Drill Sergeant from Legends, currently valued at 13 bucks. And I honestly have to say that I didn't think Kobolds would ever really be a thing. But we have a new Commander Legends spoiler, and that would be Rograk, Son of Roga. This is a 0-cost, 0/1 legendary creature with partner that has First Strike, Menace, and Trample. Due to Rograk being spoiled this week, there's a few Kobolds that are on the rise. Our number 8 winner this week, Scheming Symmetry from Core Set 2020, is valued at $8, and this is up 125% this week. The big rise this week is due to Opposition Agent, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video. And I've had Scheming Symmetry on my list of card recommendations to buy in the past, back when it was like $2-3 bucks. And I'll tell you something, this is one of those cards that is going to constantly get manipulated in formats like Commander. Opposition Agent is just the latest way to abuse this card, but there are going to be plenty of other ways down the road. And if Scheming Symmetry falls back below $5, I would put it on my list of recommendations to buy again. Glinthorn Buccaneer has always been a staple in Wheels decks, and now that Pirates are becoming a thing in Commander, our number 7 winner is up 150% this week. For just 3 mana, we're getting a 2/4 with haste, and whenever you discard a card, he deals 1 damage to each opponent. And you can also pay a red and 1 and discard a card and draw a card. You can activate this ability anytime he's attacking. Huge staple in any type of Wheels deck. Also slots nicely into things like Nekasar and stuff like that, but with all of the interest around Pirates right now, it's no wonder Glinthorn Buccaneer is on the rise. Straight back to the Kobolds with our number 6 winner, Cobalt Overlord from Legends, valued at $113, and this thing is up 157% this week. Now, it is on the reserve list, so that definitely lends to such a high price tag. For 2 mana, we get a 1/2 First Strike in Cobalt that gives all of our other Kobolds First Strike as well. Of course, this is going to slot perfectly into the Rograk of Roga deck. Poor Quirk, I wonder if he would reattach this thing if he ever found it. I don't know, it looks like it's been missing for a while. Quirk's thumb is at $15.50, and this is up 169% this week. So of course it's a 2-mana artifact that if we would flip a coin, instead we flip 2 coins and ignore 1. An obvious include in any coin flip style deck. Now there's a couple of interesting things about Quirk's thumb. First, the list printing is $10 more than the original printing. And second, Quirk's thumb is worth more than Quirk himself. Our number 4 winner has had a lot of attention in the past, and it's definitely getting another look now. This reserve list card is up to $13, and it's up 174% this week. For just 2 mana, we have an instant speed, and we choose an opponent, and that opponent has to sacrifice a number of creatures equal to the number of creatures put into our graveyard this turn. Obviously really good in Commander in various sacrifice strategies, and just good in general in black Commander decks. Our number 3 winner would typically be a pretty terrible card. This reserve list card from Mirage, Frenetic Efreet, is up 232% this week to $8 even. That said, with flipping a coin back on the table, suddenly Frenetic Efreet seems pretty good, especially in a Voltron type strategy. You could load this guy down with a bunch of awesome enchantments or counters or whatever and just have a massive flying beater. And then at any time when he's in danger, you could just activate his ability and have him phase out. Of course, when he returns, he would be keeping all of his enchantments and counters and such. Normally a pretty terrible card, but throwing this in a flip a coin, a strategy type deck seems like a pretty good include. Our number 2 winner is up 358% this week. That's right, it's Insight from Classic 6th edition, currently valued at $4.50. Now this also had a Tempest printing, which is valued around the same amount. So for the same money, you get the black border printing from Tempest. Insight got a little bit of attention with a recent video from Pleasant Kenobi where everybody in his Commander playgroup played the new Omnath. One guy had Insight in his deck and he kind of just ran away with it. Of course, this card is pretty narrow. For 3 mana, whenever one of your opponents plays a green spell, you draw a card. Super awesome if there's a lot of green players in your command group, but less great if there's not. Perfect card for casual commander decks. Our number 1 winner this week is up 450%, and honestly, I can't believe it's not up 4,500%. That's Marilyn, the Morn Song from Morningtide. It's the only printing of this card. So, alright, let's talk about Marilyn first, and then we're going to talk about Opposition Agent a little bit and understand fully what's going on here. This is a complete lock in Commander. So Marilyn of Morn Song says that players can't draw cards. Now at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life and essentially tutors for a card and puts it in their hand. Let's move over to Opposition Agent, one of the new spoilers from Commander Legends. So for 3 mana in 1 black and 2, we get a 3/2 flash. Now you control your opponents when they're searching their libraries. Also, when an opponent is searching their library, they exile the card that they find, and you may play that card as long as it remains exiled. Oh, and by the way, you can spend mana as though it were mana of any color. So going back to Marilyn now here for a second, at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life and searches their library for a card. So Opposition Agent essentially makes it that they never ever get to draw a card, and at everybody's draw step, you tutor a card out of their library, put it into exile, which you can play later. If your opponents don't have a way to deal with either Marilyn or Opposition Agent when both of them hit the battlefield, that's it. It's a complete lock. They can't draw cards, and anytime they would draw a card, instead they're going to search their library, which you get to do for them, and you throw that card into exile. So good game, everybody. I would expect Marilyn the Morn Song to continue to rise over the course of the next few weeks. Alright, before I get to cards I'm investing in this week, as always, if you're a subscriber, you know I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate your continued support. And if you want to continue supporting this channel, you can head on over to www.dragonhillgames.com and you can find a link for that in the description of this video. I want to put a shout out and say thank you to everyone who has sponsored Commander Legends videos. We're completely sold out of sponsored videos, and we're quickly selling out of Commander Legends products. So if you're in Canada and you'd like to order some Commander Legends product from us, head on over to our online marketplace at www.dragonhillgames.com. So before I get into cards I'm looking at for investment purposes this week, I really want to touch on a couple of cards from Commander Legends. So let's start out with Jeweled Lotus. And I'm not going to get into the viability of this card, what decks it should be into, all that kind of stuff. Let's save that for another video. What I do want to talk about is the financial impacts of a card like this. First of all, is this card worth $129? Well, I guess the answer to that is it remains to be seen. And I know that's not much of an answer, but it's the best one I can give you right now. I gotta be honest, I don't know how much play a card like this is going to get. On the surface, it seems like it should fit into a lot of Commander decks, but is it actually good in a lot of Commander decks? And again, we'll get into that more in another video. What I really want to focus on today is the fact that Wizards is making a really smart move with a card like this. First of all, it's a trial balloon. Let's see if we can get away with essentially printing Black Lotus in Commander. Now, of course, it has a bunch of restrictions. You can only use the mana to cast your Commander. But let's be honest here, this is Black Lotus for Commander. So what they've done here is printed future equity. I mean, a card like this is going to be in high demand. And if they're smart about it and they don't reprint this card for a year or two, it's going to be in even higher demand. So it creates a chase card for Commander Legends 4 or Double Masters 16 or whatever the case may be. If this card continues to float above $100, it's definitely reprint equity for the future. Now, another one we have that's in the same sort of vein is Opposition Agent. I was actually talking with a good friend of mine, Will, in my store yesterday, and we talked about this card for an extended period of time. And there really is no reason why you wouldn't include this in every single Commander deck that's running black. I mean, just why not? This card has everything going for it. For just 3 mana, we have a 3/2 flash human rogue, and that part alone is relevant. It's a relevant creature type. On top of that, we control our opponents when they're searching their libraries. And how often does that happen in Commander? I mean, every time they fetch, every time they tutor, you can combo it with cards like Maryland that we talked about in our top 10 list. And even grosser still is when they're searching, you search for them and you exile the card that you choose. This card remains in exile and you can play that card. Play is another really strong word here. I don't know if people realize how impactful the word play is. If this said cast, then you really wouldn't be able to do much with lands that you exile. But since it says play, you can actually play lands that you choose to exile out of your opponent's libraries. And also, you can spend mana as though it were mana of any color. This card is just absolutely broken, and it needs to be included in every black deck. What is Wizards doing? I really don't want to get into too much around the mechanics of these cards. We're going to talk about this in a video. But I did want to point out that cards like this are severely going to affect the market going forward. And as I mentioned, Wizards is creating huge reprint equity for the future. So this week we're going to focus on a flip a coin strategy. I really do think that a flip a coin deck like Quirk would be really fun to build. So let's have a look at some cards that are really good value or really good investment opportunities focusing around a flip a coin strategy. And we're going to start with Chance Encounter. Now this is more of a value play. This card is already seeing a bit of a jump, and of course that's due to Quirk. But at $15.20, this is still a good entry point for this card. For 4 mana, we get an enchantment, and whenever you flip a coin, you put a luck counter on Chance Encounter. It doesn't matter about win or lose the whole flip thing. And with a deck like Quirk, you're going to be flipping a ton of coins. Now, at the beginning of your upkeep, if Chance Encounter has 10 or more luck counters on it, you win the game. Really awesome alternate win condition for Commander, and it's auto-include in a Quirk flip a coin deck. Up next, we have Fiery Gambit, and specifically the Mystery Booster Retail Exclusive Edition. So this is a foil Fiery Gambit for just 80 cents. The regular sort of non-foil pack version is still going for around $2.50, which is also a bargain at that price. Combining this into a flip a coin strategy where you have Quirk's Thumb, Fiery Gambit can get out of control, especially with Quirk where you have the opportunity to copy Fiery Gambit. For 3 mana, we're getting a sorcery, and you flip coins until you choose to stop or until you lose. Now, if you win 1 flip, you deal 3 damage to a target creature. If you win 2 flips, it deals 6 damage to each opponent. And if you win 3 or more flips, draw 9 cards and untap all lands you control. This is a great time to be picking up the Mystery Booster retail version of Fiery Gambit for just 80 cents. And last but not least, we have a must include for every flip a coin deck, and that's Impulsive Maneuvers from Odyssey. It's the only printing of this card, and it's currently valued at $2.30. Great pickup price for this card. For 4 mana, we're getting an enchantment. Now, whenever a creature attacks, now that's the important part. Whenever a creature attacks, so of course you're going to do this with every single attacking creature, no matter who is attacking and who they're attacking. Flip a coin. If you win the flip, the next time that creature would deal combat damage this turn, it deals double that damage instead. And if you lose the flip, the next time that creature would deal combat damage this turn, prevent that damage. So you can really do some gross things like combine this with Quirk's Thumb and choose whether or not you actually want to win or lose flips depending on who or what the creature is attacking. Auto include in every flip a coin deck. Impulsive Maneuvers is a great pickup at just $2.30. All right, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of This Week in MTG Finance. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. It really helps me out, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.